Hello everybody. In this video I'm going to be going through a plugin I have dubbed Full Grab. What the plugin does is it grabs the full fixture for any instances you currently have in your selection. So for example, if you have the cells of a couple of X4 bars in your selection, it will grab the entire X4 bars. The purpose is to make it a little bit easier to work with multi-instance fixtures, closer to how you would be able to work with single instance fixtures. So as an example here, I'm going to grab every third flare. So just to explain this layout, all of these white cells are the strobe instances of a bunch of flares, and all the red cells are the wash instances of those same flares. So what I want to do is I want to grab every third flare, set the wash instance to full in CTO, use it kind of like a mole pump, and then grab the strobe instances of those same flares and force them to 0. Now would be possible to do with groups. Again, this is a simplified example of where you would want to use it. So let's jump into that. So I'm going to grab all of my flare washes, go into highlight mode, we'll do our interleave of 3 here, and now we have every third wash selected, wash instance selected. I'm going to exit highlight mode, go to full, let's say CTO, and now I just want to grab the strobe instance of those same lights. So I'm going to click on my grab master macro, say at 0, and if we check our dimmer we can see that it's forced to 0 now, and I can store that here. Overwrite that. Great. So I've got an executor built already that takes all these strobes up to 100, and anytime I flash this queue that we just made, we can see that it is forcing those strobe instances to 0 as we expected. Again, that was totally possible to do by building other groups, but this saves us that step. And sometimes that can be super helpful when the fixtures you're grabbing aren't necessarily all in a super clean, mathematical, matrix friendly order. And you didn't necessarily have groups for it because it might have been for a single queue. So for the specific example of why this exists, I was on a show where I had quantum washes, and I needed to grab all the ones that were at a certain position and change their color and intensity. But the master instances of a quantum wash in maxed out mode do not include color and dimmer. So all I could grab based on the position was the pan tilt module, which did me no good. So as an answer to that, here we are. So to demonstrate that principle, I've got a bunch of X4 bars. Sorry, I know that was kind of gibberish. Bunch of X4 bars. 8 of them are in red. The other 4 are in amber or yellow. What I want to do is grab just the ones that are in red and tilt them. So if it was a normal fixture, you could just say if output and then click on your preset, and just like with a normal fixture, I now have all of those selected. If I go into highlight mode, we can see that those are indeed what I've grabbed. However, that does not include the master instance of these X4 bars that doesn't have color information. If I go to a fixture sheet over here, we can see that there is no .1 at the top of this list. I want to grab the masters. Great. Grab master. We can see our selection jumps to all of the .1s, and now I can switch preset types and tilt them. Great. Now I want to grab all the ones that are in amber. So if I say if output amber, grab master, tilt those the other way. Okay, well now I think that looks like crap on people. So I'm going to switch back to the sub instances, and we're going to change that color to, I don't know, let's say green, because that looks much better on skin. And there we go. There is our sub. So now we can just swap back and forth between the master and the sub instances. Now what those macros are that I'm using are, if I edit these, it's just running the plugin first to grab the entire instance, and then it says if group all master. So if you haven't used the if keyword before, it's a filtering keyword. It allows you to only retain whatever is in the object that follows that word. So in this case, it grabs the entire fixture, and then it will only retain whatever is in the group titled all master, which if I go over here is all of my .1 sorry, all my .1 fixtures or fixtures that are only a single instance. To build these groups, it's super fast. All you need to do is type in fixture start.1, and you will have, you can see this is lit up in green, you will have your all masters group. same thing as before. There is nothing in here that either has an instance number or has that number as anything higher than 1. Great. Now to build your subgroup, you can take one of two approaches. You can say fixture through, and then you can say minus all your masters, which will leave you with the subs, or you can grab all the masters, say invert with nothing after it, which if you aren't using this keyword, I highly suggest. I find it super helpful. Hit enter, and now you've got all of your sub instances again. And we can pretend I said that right. Anyways, that's what both these macros do. One grabs it and then says if all masters, the other one grabs it and then says if all subs. You can tweak it to however works best for you. You can say if all X4 bar master and if all X4 bar cells, so you have a set of macros for each group. I find that to take a little too many buttons, and most of the time don't need it. So this is my own workflow for just these two macros in combination with the plugin, and it's worked great for me. Everybody's got their own approach to it though. As far as user configuration goes on this, there really isn't any. If I right click on this guy, the only thing that is maybe worth bothering with is there's a temporary group setting. So if you want to, the plugin stores to a group temporarily for it to operate. If you have a macro where this particular group number interferes with what you've already got going, you can change it here wherever it will store to. Change the number here, it'll store to a different group. That's simple. That is all of the settings. There's nothing else to it. So hopefully this helps some other people out with dealing with multi-instance fixtures. I personally have really liked working with it. There are plenty of situations where there's a workaround just with how you organize your groups or whatever. I personally prefer keeping my groups pool a little cleaner if I can avoid cluttering it up with extra stuff, because I already clutter it up with a million things. So that's how I like to work with it. You can download the plugin for free from my website at giaffodesigns.com. Links in the description. You can contact me on Facebook or through my website for questions, comments, requests, blah, blah, blah. There's a mailing list on the website. You can subscribe on here, social media things. Hope you guys find some use for it. Stay tuned for things as I find time to release them, and enjoy.